Allison
I don't
Curtin
know.
when she was, yeah, so I watched her, and of course, the thing of it is, her dad. Oh, is it?
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's not six. I wouldn't know. Can't hear anything.
Okay, you were just bragging.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. We'll get started in a minute, but we have a little technical issue with the computer. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please? Oh, I guess we could do that, pledge. It wasn't on my list here.
It's on mine, I just wrote it.
You'll join me in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now a roll call. Here.
Here.
Here. Here?
Here.
Is Rick signed in? All right. All right, it is that time where we hear from any visitors. Anyone want to communicate anything to the board? Okay, what's going on?
The volume's up on that TV.
All right. Does anyone want to address the board?
You had one.
I do.
Please come forward. State your name.
In case you don't know me, most of you do, I'm Roseanne Hobbs. I'm the old person at the junior high. There may even be some rumors of my retirement this year.
Just a second. Can you turn that thing off?
He's got it.
Still working on it.
Why don't you just come over in front
Sorry
of us?
about that. Would you start again,
I can't
please?
hear a word she's saying.
Go ahead.
I've been at the junior high for 29 years, and I'm here on behalf of my colleagues and the students at the junior high. It's been brought to our attention that there's possible leadership changes going to happen within the district for the next school year, and we just wanted to give you some things that we'd like for you to consider before you make decisions. Beginning with the 2018-2019 school year, the junior high structure from the school leadership team to the departments to our administration underwent a complete change. We implemented changes that were academic and professional in our entire building. This leadership structure, we used it to reevaluate everything that we have been doing as teachers. Our main concern was the academic performance of our students and their social emotional well-being. We used the student-centered approach to decide on our incentives that we intended to use for the next year. We had such an amazing buy-in from every teacher in our building. We tore our curriculum maps apart. We had the map test at that time. We went through training on how to use the map test. We did deep data dives. We restructured everything. Our curriculum maps within departments, we tried not to overlap. We tried to make sure, we did make sure that all the Common Core standards were covered. The result of that, after the 2018-2019 school year, was that our school building, the TJHS, went from underperforming as far as our state rating to exemplary. If you know the IAR testing, it was an amazing feat. We also were the only school, if I'm not mistaken, in the state that did that. In fact, recently this year, we were contacted by the National Blue Ribbon Awards, and we were nominated by the state of Illinois State Board of Education, to apply for the National Blue Ribbon Award. There are only 16, the state can only nominate 16 schools to do that. It's really an honor. I think that it's an important thing to understand that they put that much credence in what had happened at the junior high. This honor was really meaningful to our staff, coming on the heels of the most trying year in public education. It's been a difficult year for students, for families, and for teachers. When a primary goal of our district is the social and emotional well-being of all stakeholders, we ask that you take into account the great strides our building has accomplished under the current leadership before deciding on next year's leadership assignments. Come to our building. Delay your decisions and come to our building. Talk to teachers. Talk to the kids. Make sure that it's in the best interest of our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to talk, please?
Hello, I'm here, Dr. Turner invited me here to give you guys an update on the Building Trades Program. I'm Mr. Blomquist here at the Taylorville High School. Dr. Dougherty and board, we're going to invite you guys to do a walkthrough or open house for you guys sometime before you guys' May meeting. So when you guys come in May, won't be 100% finished, but it'll be very close. So we'll set up, you guys can contact me, and we'll set up a time when you guys want to do that, whether it's right before your meeting or any time before then. So currently we are very close to being done. Outside, we are down to a matter of trimming a garage door, exterior doors. Probably the biggest part we have to do outside is actually put in a yard. We have a weed field at the moment. Inside, we have most of the house trimmed out, ready for paint. We are just finished up the drywall on the bathroom and laundry room after we tested water lines, make sure we didn't have any leaks. So we will be getting that primed, flooring put in this week, and then starting trim out next week for those, as also installing cabinets in the bathrooms. The kitchen is all installed, things like that. So outside, we are at least probably 90, not counting the yard, 99% done. Inside, we probably are around the 96% percentage of done. We've been talking with Steve Craigs, who was also the realtor in realtor company who donated the land, so we've been starting to talk about prices. The market is very hot in Taylorville because there is no supply. Not that we're a hotbed of people coming in, but there's just no houses to buy, and especially at the caliber and size that we just built for the community. The next project is House 28. That will move down one block into the west to 828 West Vanderveer. That was a lot that we split the back taxes with the city, so in essence, it was almost a free lot. So we thank the city for that. We will break ground probably sometime in July, so that way the foundation is put in for the kids' return in August. Assuming we're on a completely normal schedule, things should look a little bit more normal compared to this year, although I do appreciate you guys letting me have a hybrid schedule the entire year. The students who were able to and wanting to come out to the job site were out there each week. Progress, even though it was random, it was very good. We made great progress. Obviously, it was completely different, but there was a lot of one-on-one time working with those small groups. So some of the kids that took advantage of that really got to get their teeth into it, and it was, all things considered, it was still a great opportunity. We've gotten a lot of recognition locally, a lot of recognition even nationally, which has turned into a lot of donated materials from national manufacturers. For this next project, we're still working out the details, but we could be starting off quite ahead of the budget schedule before we even dig a hole. So, like I said, if there's any questions for me, you guys can ask real quick. Or as far as setting up the the open house, you guys can just email me and we'll get that set up. Dr.
Since I put you on the spot and asked you to come here tonight, I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
One of the things I'd like you to explain to everybody about the energy, how energy efficient this is and how tight this house is with the air exchange and that, if you would please.
Yeah.
That's cutting edge.
Yes. Yeah. So one thing we did was, obviously energy is a big deal. A month ago we found that out, right?
Right.
So many of our houses, and I'm not going to say that houses in Taylorville are built bad. They were just built to code and not taking in energy codes. Energy codes are on the rise throughout the nation. Up north, where it's colder, this has kind of been a big deal for longer periods of time just because of the weather. And now here in our climate zone, it's starting to catch on. So we've actually built this house to a very tight standard, nearing passive house standards, which, for you unfamiliar with, is one of the highest energy standards you can build a house. We have windows that are triple glazed that seal better. Our air tightness, we actually tested with a blower door that we own, a blower door kit, and do these tests. We have a ERV, which is an energy recovering ventilation system, that will make sure, since we have a tight house, I'll make sure the fresh air is being brought in, stale air is being brought out. This will also reduce the amount of energy needed to run your air conditioning and your heater. Pretty much the idea is, a lot of people used to say, well, you can't build tight because the house has to breathe. No, it doesn't. A house will not die if you don't breathe, right? There's no lungs. But the people inside of there are deemed to breathe good, clean air, and so you have to ventilate right. So that's where the ERV comes in when we're building so tight. The good thing also is air infiltration also brings moisture, right? There's moisture in the air. If air can move, moisture can move. And that's a problem where a lot of things happen with rot. Sometimes rot happens not because there's a water leak from the roof, but because water can get inside the wall cavities and not properly dry out. So our control layers that's been taken into consideration. There is continuous exterior insulation all the way around the house, so that way when you can sit by a window and you don't feel a draft. It doesn't condensate. Comfort was taken into consideration. We still will have crown molding. We might even be getting a really good deal on granite countertops, so all the things that people ooh and ah about that are going to get changed in 5 years anyway will still be there. But the structure of the house, the control layers of the house, are set to a standard that is been happening for a long time, just not in the Midwest and definitely not locally. And we have been working with, I've been fortunate enough to get in with representatives from Fine Home Building Magazine, and architects and builders, and we've been highlighted by those people on social media and even in the magazine and their websites. And we're actually working with those people to make the next house even better. So literally, in my career, we just built the worst house we're gonna build. The rest of them will just keep getting better. And this is probably the best house that's ever been built in building trades on a functioning and performance-wise structure.
Question, what's the process of selling the house now?
It will go open market with
Okay,
trade
we'll have bids, and then we'll
It will
select-
be just like if you and I are going to the realtor and buying a house.
Okay.
So that way, we want to ensure that no money is left on the table.
Very good.
And the realtors have already been contacted by people interested, so I don't think this is going to be a process that's going to last very long.
One final thing. You guys introduced the kids to schedules this year too, did you not?
We tried.
Okay, all right. So you're
About as
gonna-
well as
you're gonna
any of us can
continue working
schedule
on that
anything
issue,
this year, right?
Okay.
But yes, so I am finishing up my master's in construction management here in a month. One of the things I wanted to do was start implementing more of the construction management side, because I do get kids who are like, well, I'd like to do my own company one day. Well, whether it's a construction company or any company, these skills are something we need. We're focused, I put kids in charge as foremans, so they get management or leadership roles. This year that was difficult to do because we all just kind of work together, me and the students, where when we have 12 to 15 kids on the job site, they're divided up in groups, and I need people representing each group to kind of help with quality control and things like that. So that way I can kind of report to 5 kids rather than 15 kids coming to me saying somebody missed a nail or something, right? So one of the things I want to work on is actually having a scheduling manager next year, and work with showing how we produce the schedule, and then how well we staying tasked to our schedule. Again, I really don't have much to base off of from this year to next year, where we were supposed to have, our goal is to have the house done in 1 year, which obviously took us 2 years. So I have a schedule laid out that should take us 1 year. We'll see if that happens, of course. But last year, before COVID, we were on pace. We probably would have needed a few weeks after school got out to totally finish. But now that I see how certain things go with students and stuff, I also know where we can streamline and make things a little easier just on my end and stuff too. So, but yes, construction management is one of the aspects that I won't make every student push really hard on. You're either interested and into it, and if you are, then I will kind of feed you that and let you run with that. Everybody will get a little taste of it, but the kids who are a little bit more interested in the planning side and the management side of things can kind of dig in a little bit deeper.
All right.
Now, I want
Go
to
ahead.
just make a statement and then ask a quick question. One of our main focuses at the high school level is to have the college and career plans for kids. And you and I have discussed that in the board and strategic plan in the community. And the kids that you are training through this program, how many were you able to work with here recently?
Okay, so as far as kind of like lining up for careers and stuff, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just how
Okay.
many were
Sure.
part of the
So
program?
last year, I had 20 seniors. And the last time I counted, I know over half were working or going to school in the trades.
And so the next thing is we're trying to either get work and/or college experience for kids while they're still in high school. So Matt's been pursuing his master's degree. When teachers have a master's degree in a subject area, we can offer dual credit. So that is perfectly in alignment with what we're trying to do on college and career pathways.
Correct.
So I applaud you publicly for taking that on. And I remember that discussion early on when I first met you on pursuing that degree. But it's exactly what we want to offer for kids. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Yes, and that is one thing we are working with Lincoln Land as we speak. All my stuff has been turned in. We're just kind of waiting on Lincoln Land to confirm everything. for dual creditship. We also have something else we're working on with Lincoln Land. We'll see if it develops, and if it does, then I'll let you guys in on that. But we have, one of the big things is, I know it's a trades thing, but I'm someone who, I went to college, I did a trade. I tell the kids to do both. Someone will always hire you. And if anything else, you can work your way through school, or you can come and, when I retire, teach my spot. So, maybe I'm training our future replacement for me one day.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board?
Maybe.
All right. Communications, please. Dr. Dougherty?
The first thing that I'd like to talk about is a testament of the commitment in our community. We recently had the election for board members, and we have a special board meeting that will be held on April 28th at 5 p.m. to reorganize our Board of Education. But we had more candidates than we had positions, and that doesn't typically happen. So thank you for stepping forward. I know Jim Andrick is here this evening. Thank you, Jim, for stepping forward and going through that process. And Rick Bryant's not with us this evening, but he also stepped forward. And we have 3 new members who will be joining the board. They're here with us this evening. We have Carla Mickey. We have Jennifer Norris. And we have Brenda Patrick. So welcome and thank you for stepping forward. We also have incumbent Tricia Marberger, who ran on the ballot. So thank you for taking the efforts to put the schools at the front of the needs in the community. That's appreciated. So the clerk will certify the ballots on the 27th of April, and then districts must reorganize within 28 days of the election. That is why we selected and had to have a special board meeting for April 28th. So at that board meeting, our existing board will take seats, will reorganize, and then appoint a temporary president, and then we will restructure. We will close out the board and then open and start fresh with the new board. So again, that's April 28th at 5 p.m. The next area is IPA, which is the Principal Association, has student recognition, and we have 3 students from the district. We have Memorial student Carter Perry as being selected. We have Taylorville Junior High School student Addison Tarr, and we have Taylorville High School student Elariana Letnika. And those 3 students will represent our school district and each of their schools for the Principals Association. We have a new grant that we just received. It's Elementary and Secondary Relief Digital Professional Learning Grant. And we have a new grant through the agriculture program called Growmark Pollinator Grant Program. We also have a new title grant that's flowing through with federal funds that we will be starting to work on. And we have an update from the Ag Department where we now have more state titles than ever in history in any school in the state. Toby Winans, Ag Service. And Tony's here. He's behind the camera with Tommy TV. He's often a face behind the camera, but he's quite a leader in our student arena. Tony, give a wave out. Toby, give a wave out. There he is. Well done. I know I talked to him after his interview. I had a tie on that day, and I said, how did you do? And he said, I'm really nervous and I'm not sure. Then I talked to him after it, and he said, I received state recognition. And the next step, of course, is federal. And I said, how will that go? And he said, I'm very pleased to have received state recognition. So we're proud of you. Gracie Korsko, Agricultural Science Research, Integrated Systems, a 3-year science fair project. Gracie, are you here this evening? I did not see you. Okay. Lance DeClerc. Lance received his state proficiency award for diversified crop production. He farms his own 80-acre of corn and beans. And Lizzie Schaefer. Is Lizzie in the house tonight? Lizzie received agricultural science research for animal systems. It's a 3-year bovine reproduction project. These honors require a student to conduct a daily economic record book for at least 2 years and conduct a 15-minute interview about their project. These students, as well as 4 others, won at the section level and district level in order to make it to state. 3 times over the past 2 months, 31 different community members gave up an evening and came to Taylorville High School to practice interviewing with these kids. That's 31 community members. These kids, as well as others that competed but did not make it to the state level. Sometimes these kids make it look easy, and it seems that our FFA chapter wins a lot. We are very fortunate to win numerous awards, but it is not easy. The reasons for our continued success are simple. Number 1, an outstanding community that does whatever it takes for these kids. And number 2, outstanding kids that have passion, drive, and integrity. Number 3, THS staff members, not just ag teachers, that help these kids in and out of the classroom. Practice interviewing this spring. Mr. Dexheimer, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Keller, Mr. Milberg, Ms. Sorrell, as well as many others throughout the year. The group of seniors we have are truly special, and they're incredible community servants and exceptional leaders. Congratulations.
That it? All right. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, but I'm going to make a request that we pull the personnel sheet out separately so that we can do the other items, the other 3 items in the consent agenda, and then we'll move on to the personnel issue separately, if that's all right with everyone. Seeing no objections, we will continue. We have March 8th minutes. Have you reviewed, and does anyone have any questions, comments, or changes to the 8th? Looks like not, so let's move on to claims. We just divide, let's talk about claims and the treasurer's report all in one fatal swoop, if you would.
Okay. Claims are up this month. They were pretty typical until just here recently. We did pay half of what we owe to Synapsis, which is the distance learning grant. So we paid half of that, and we should receive reimbursement within the next 2 weeks to repay that money. Okay? Does anybody else have any questions about claims? No? Okay, as far as the treasurer's report, expenses should be 75% for this time of the year, and they are currently under budget at 72%. The district is receiving EBF money and grant payments on a regular basis. The district has started to receive items from the distance learning grant. The bond paperwork was finalized March 11th, and the district received $14,971. That will be used for upcoming capital projects that will start this summer. Next month, at the next month's board meeting, we will be going over the amended budget that will be presented.
Any questions? All right, if there are not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Dr. Meisner? Second, Dr. Freeze. And could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Freeze?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Meiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Marburger?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes. All right, let's move on to the personnel sheet. Superintendent Dougherty?
Personnel sheet, resignations, Jody Thompson Cook, Taylorville High School, effective May 26th. Brittany Davis, teacher, Memorial Elementary, effective the end of the school year. Amy Kent, Taylorville Junior High, cheerleading coach, effective the end of the season. Carol Eichhoff, FACES, Special Education Aid Memorial School, effective April 6th. Doug Brown, girls assistant basketball coach, Taylorville High School, effective March 16th. Kathleen Schaefer-Hay, playground supervisor, Memorial, effective March 15th. Fawn Hames, science teacher, Taylorville High School, effective May 27th. Change of assignment, Laura Hubbard, third grade teacher, Memorial Elementary, to fourth grade teacher, Memorial Elementary, effective 21-22 school year. Eric Bruder, principal, Memorial Elementary, to principal at Taylorville Junior High School, effective 21-22 school year, $10,000 salary increase. Jessica Miller, principal, Taylorville Junior High School, to district tech administrator, effective 21-22 school year. Jamie Everly, playground supervisor, North Elementary, to increased hours of 2.5, playground supervisor, Memorial Elementary, effective March 15th. Request of a leave of absence, Molly Lively. Teacher, North Elementary, FMLA leave, approximate April 26th. Denise Nickel, pre-K aide, Central, medical leave of absence effective April 15th. Roberta Harker, special ed teacher, Taylorville High School, junior high school, FMLA leave, March 10th. Recommendations to employ, Melissa Gray, Student Support Service Program Coordinator, effective July 1st. Hillary Morlock, Speech Language Pathologist, effective 21-22 school year. Emily Repsher, Speech Language Pathologist, effective 21-20 year school year. Jamie Garrett, Speech Language Pathologist, effective 21-22 school year. Chantel Vance, Guidance Counselor, Taylorville High School, effective August 2nd. She comes with a master's +0 from Eastern. And this hire is pending her completion of a degree in May. There's 0 experience. Megan Curtin, pre-K aide, Central School, effective 21-22 school year.
Is there any discussion on the personnel list? I'm going to make a motion to pull out Eric Gruder and Jessica Miller's reassignments. I'm going to make a motion to pull those out and table that decision until the new board is seated. Do I have a second? Seeing no second, the motion dies on the table. Does anyone make a motion to approve the personnel list?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Ms. Marberger, motion. Dr. Freeze, second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 No. The motion passes, and we will move on now to what's on my agenda here. Hang on just a second. Old business. Could we have the COVID-19 return to learning update?
So we've returned to the classroom Monday through Friday, and we did that the prior week before spring break. During that week, we learned a few things as far as lunch and sorting out students in space and movement in the halls and busing and some minor glitches. Coming back the week after spring break, things were pretty smooth. Some of the problems that we still are encountering are all of the people during lunch hours. So we're using all kinds of space in the schools. And that's caused some controversy. The weather's starting to cooperate with us. We've got some tents and we've got some picnic tables and trying to do more open air. The CDC has been helpful because they've changed the requirements from 6 foot to 3 foot, and the IDPH guidelines have aligned with that. The other thing that's happened here recently is the vaccinations are now going to be offered to kids that are 16 and up. And so we should be hearing something locally from the police, or not the police, but the health department on that. So if we can get more inoculations, I think that will help tremendously. We currently have 5 students that have been positive cases, and we had a few that were on the football team, so our football contest got postponed, and our homecoming will be this coming Saturday. Our kids that were quarantined because of exposure or positives will return to school on Thursday. And in working with the health department and the nurses, we've been following a 14-day protocol when kids are exposed and or positive. And the health department guidelines through the State Board of Education are down to 10 days. So we'll be complying with that update that comes out from the state school division. The other thing that's going on is we've submitted our grant with our COVID money. And we're doing a few, you've got a copy of it at your table tonight. This is the $1.9 million grant. There are 3 in the series. This is the second of the series. We will be purchasing the Screencastify tool, which allows for presentation. and we've been utilizing that. We are working on interactive touch panels so that instruction can come into a classroom and go out of a classroom. We are looking at laptop and Chromebook replacements for K-8 instructional staff, and we are looking at an HVAC system at the junior high. The caveat with the government funds that was released is you can improve indoor air quality because the exchange of air is so important for this airborne virus. And so we are going to try to utilize the funding to make an impact at those buildings. And in a minute, you're going to hear from our maintenance director, and this ties to the bonding work and our maintenance project, that we are going to try to utilize the grant funds to the fullest extent possible so that we have lasting evidence of those government dollars that come into our district. So that is the game plan for the $1.9 million, and we're very, very pleased to be able to put this level of support into the district for students and staff.
Yeah, I want to commend everybody on what you've done through some very trying times to get the kids back in school and that. And honestly, we really appreciate all the hard work. I know it has not been easy. And we're playing a little this by ear because the rules keep changing every day. But they've been changing since last March. And I think you guys have done a great job. So thank you, and keep up the good work. It is appreciated. Technology update.
So our technology update, we've got a technology integrationist in the district, and we've got building clerks in each building, and a clerk at the Pepsi building. And we are working with CTI, as you're full aware, on running things through the district. We're currently have testing that's scheduled, state testing that's coming up here in the spring. So those things are in place, and then we've got orders and things in place for materials moving forward during the interim.
All righty. Okay, let's move on to the building committee recommendations. Recommendations we've gone over to do the air conditioning systems here in the high school, third floor library, Taylorville Junior High School, and also Memorial, some units there along with the control systems. Is there any discussion on that?
Yes, and I've asked Steve Walters to join us, our maintenance director. He's going to tell you some good news about bundling this, some good news about timing this, and then I wish Mr. Bryant was here because you know, he was always very concerned, not he alone, but he had his eye on safety because of his background. But he asked for some things to be taken a look at Memorial School, and they too are on this list with asphalt and fencing. So Steve, if you would please review.
Okay, thank you guys. So first of all, thank you guys for putting that all together. And I wanted to bring the foremost thing is the money savings that we are doing by bringing all these jobs together that were, first of all, they were stretched out by that timeline up into 2025. And so the original, if we would have done that by the timeline, we would have been talking about $4,705,000. By bringing all that work in at the same time this year, we brought that down to $4,356,407. Bringing contractors in the same area is going to bring that price down. Putting things together, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of materials and equipment, but here in the last month, and it's expected to happen from here on out, there's going to be probably a 6% increase triannually, so 3 times a year, on equipment, lumber, materials, and believe it or not, you know, they say that things are, you know, getting paid and we're getting all the things taken care of by the government. Somebody's got to pay for it, and that's exactly what everyone's going to do. So heating and cooling equipment, lumber, roofing, all that stuff is going to escalate by 6% 3 times a year. So by us locking into this, we're going to have that additional savings. So that brings us to a savings of $348,000 by grouping that together. On the document you have from the Amoresco at the building committee meeting, it was recommended by Mr. Bruder and Mr. Bryan that there was some asphalt crumbling at Memorial School, and also we lost the ability to close down that road in between, which was used as a playground area basically for years. So there was some concern there that we bring some additional wrought iron fencing around the property. And that's where you see on your thing, it's $34,923, I believe. So that's something that we didn't figure on, but at the last building committee meeting, I was asked to get that pricing. So even if we take that on there, we're still leaving us with $313,000 that we, would have spent in the meantime on top of that, which would have that 6% 3 times a year. So you guys making the decision to put this all together was a great timing and a great thing to do to help us save money and get these things taken care of. And the other thing, too, that we are doing that we've been talking about, Mr. Bloomquist was talking about it back here, the ability for us to all these locations is to bring in fresh air, and all these new units are designed to exactly do that. So this room right here and the cafeteria, Memorial School, and then we will have 100% capability at the junior high of fresh air. North and Central already have that. But to get that for what we need right now to make sure the people are breathing fresh air, we're going to have that. We're not tackling it 100%, but we're making a really good stab into it. And as we proceed in the future, any equipment that we will have that fresh air capability. So I want to thank everybody for that. And I think we're ready to go. We're ready to break ground. If the day school's out, we're going to be setting up construction sites at 4 different areas. So everything's ready to go, and equipment's on hold right now for us, so it was a good time to lock in that equipment. Any questions?
No questions? Comments, war stories? All right. I believe we need a motion to move forward. So if someone would like to approve this list or make a motion to approve it.
I can make the motion.
Smartberger?
Can you hear me? I'll make it. Oh, you hear me.
Second?
I'll second.
Ms. Van Huss, seconds. Could you have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. All right. We'll move on to new business now. School improvement plan. I think y'all have copies of that.
Hi, that's me. What you have in front of you is this school improvement report. The actual school improvement plans probably about 100 pages for each school. So what I've given you is, if you look at the middle of the page, it'll tell you what school. And those are the designations that we were talking about before. Underperforming is now targeted. So you'll see what they were in 2018 and 2019. We don't have anything for fiscal year 20 because we did not test. And the way it looks, we will not have anything for fiscal year 21. So that last designation will still be carried over. We are testing IAR, but they have waived the designations piece of it. So the state board is scurrying right now to figure out how that's going to look on the school report card. It'll probably look exactly the same it did this year. Not enough information to report, if you remember. The way the school improvement plans are written is our administrators have an SLT, school leadership team in their building, and they get together and they talk about what their needs are and what their SMART goals are. And you'll see those on here. It'll say SMART goal. Some of them have a little more detail than the others, but those are the SMART goals. And our AIR representative that we have told us to just bring those things forward if our district goals haven't changed, which they haven't. Social emotional learning, reading, and in some areas IEP goals. So most of the buildings just brought those forward and tweaked them a little bit. Also on this, we have monitoring progress. So every quarter, they have to say how much they've met that goal. So it's a pretty long and detailed process They have to go through the quality frameworks before they even put together their goals, and it becomes quite a long process. But all of this is connected to the 1003A grant, which is another federal grant that we get some money for. And as with all federal grants, they all have their own specific things that you have to do in order to get the money. So that's one piece of it right there. And it just always has to be approved by the board. And should we vote on that or move to consolidated? Okay.
Need a motion.
Do you have questions for anything?
Does anybody have any questions, comments on the process? All right, we would need to continue, we'll need a vote to approve this school improvement report plan.
I so move.
Second.
Dr. Freeze, motion, Ms. Marburger, second. We can do this by a voice vote, I believe, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. All right, let's move on to the Consolidation District Plan Federal Grant.
Okay. Every year you have to put in your consolidated district plan in order to receive the federal grants. Right now we have, that would be Title I, which is improving basic programs. We improve reading and social emotional learning. That's the grant that we pay for our title teachers and staff and things with. And then on every grant, I put in there that we're also going to address needs that arise from the pandemic learning loss. So that's just an additional thing that you probably haven't seen before. Title II is preparing for training and recruiting. Most of the time this is used to help new teachers, mentoring and professional development. And then Title IV is the well-rounded education. We pay for most of one of our SROs out of that grant. And of course, you have to pay a certain percentage for everything. That's a health and safety piece of that. And then we also have the IDEA flow-through grant, which is special education. And we also have the preschool flow-through grant, which is not the preschool grant, but the special education piece of the preschool grant is the federal, because our preschool grant is state. So those are all the items that are in our consolidated grant. If you look across the top, I didn't give you the whole grant either because, again, it's a lot of pages. If you want some reading sometime, you're welcome to do it. But those tabs across the top are each one of those we have to fill in and do, like foster care and stakeholders. And you consult with the private schools because they get, if they choose to participate, they get a portion of the federal grants as well. So
All right, does anybody have any questions? If not, to entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Marburger, second. Dr. Meiser. Can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. All right, consideration of the CTI technology contract.
So as you know, we have CTI services contracted for the interim in our technology transition, and we have worked out an extension to that contract, so they will be the backbone tech support for the district moving forward for next fiscal year. What it does is it's an addendum to the existing contracts of the same services, and we are budgeting approximately 10 hours per week at 52 weeks and 95 per hour. And what that will get us access to is on-demand tech when we need it, for hardware, infrastructure types of things that are beyond the scope of our staff.
Anybody have any questions or comments? And I would need a motion to approve the addendum to the contract.
I so move.
Dr. Freeze,
I'll second.
Ms. Marburger, second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Passes. Moving on to item number 4, summer school credit recovery information.
So this portion of the conversation, Mr. Hutchison is going to explain to us the structure of how that looks.
Yes, we are going to do credit recovery. This is something that we have done in past years. Obviously, we didn't do it last summer, but we'll use credit recovery. We use Apex. That's the program that we use for students to kind of recover credit that weren't successful over the regular school year. So we'll use Apex this summer. It's a short program, basically 3 weeks or so in June is when our credit recovery is. Is that enough detail for you?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions on the credit recovery or any suggested comments or that? I know this is going to be a tough program this summer because we got a lot of things going on, but you know, this is very, very important to get this through this process. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison.
Our Go Solutions renewal agreement.
This is an annual process, and Go Solutions is a third-party administrative agent for Medicaid pay-for service.
So we'll need a motion to proceed with that and for a renewal.
So move.
Dr. Meiser,
I'll second.
Ms. Marburger, second. Give a roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Custodial supplies.
So each year at an annual basis, the custodial department inventories and predicts in quantity the supplies that they will need. And then Julie from our district office compiles and goes out for a bid and puts forth the bid results. So this is your spreadsheet on the bid results for custodial supplies. It'll be for fiscal year '22.
Does anyone have any questions on any of the items or how we came to? Okay, I'm assuming that's not a question. Does anybody have any questions or comments on these bids? There were a couple things that we did change in here. We went with a couple of people with, we changed some things around because some people didn't meet their commitments last year. And we also changed a little bit on the suppliers because some of the people who are supplying bags, we have to double bag them. So we've gone with a little bit better bag on that process so we don't have to spend twice as much money. And that's actually going to save us money in the long run. So if I could get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Sarah Van Huss.
I'll second.
Ms. Marburger, second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. I don't believe we need any executive session today, so we'll skip right to the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. Is Roseanne Haas still with us? Who spoke when the meeting opened tonight? No? Well, I'll follow up with her again tomorrow. But I completely agree with her on the merits of Jessica Miller. And Jessica Miller was selected to be the educational tech leader for the district. And she was selected strategically. She has an instructional technology degree, and she has a vision that is going to blow the use of technology. She's already met with the crew and kind of talked about expanding. And it's not the building of the technology, but it's the deployment and the use of the technology. And she just does amazing work. So we're really thrilled that she agreed to step forth and to lead that team and to work with that team. She's very optimistic, and we are as well. And we just are really looking forward to taking the good work the tech department's already put into place and to looking at the lessons we learned in the pandemic and utilizing the grant funds that are coming forth, especially with our new instructional technology grant, and just doing the best that we can instructionally. So Jessica, thank you for stepping forth. And Roseanne wanted to keep you at the building level. We want to share you across the district. So we echo her sentiments on your excellence, and we thank you for that. The next thing that I want to talk about is we've had an ongoing audit of our energy costs. And as you know, we contract commodity purchases for gas and electric. And this last winter, we were facing a serious shortage or overusage, if you will, late in February across this part, not just this part of the nation and state, but I know Texas got hit with it too. And so we have been working, the business office and I, with DJ Kennedy, who, as you know, is a retired Ameren executive, and we've put together spreadsheets and comparative analysis on all of the therms and all the usages. And now we are out looking at the commodity brokers and getting bids, and we've got it narrowed down to 2 of the lower bids in consortiums across the state. So we should have those contracts for you at the very next board meeting. But we've noticed some patterns, and we've done some investigation on usage at different places across the district. So it's just been really beneficial to have somebody with that level of expertise guide us in the process. What it will look like is a 3-year contract, and we will bid out per therm in advance. And it also ties into the energy savings work that we're doing with the new Daikin systems with Mr. Walters. So we're optimistic about that, and it's been quite a bit of work, but really good work. So I'm pretty excited about it. The ballot, we talked earlier tonight about the election. We had the question on the ballot, along with about 17 other districts in the state, whether or not to go from a zoned style election of candidates in our district to a district at large. And our district decided against it. There were more than that. 14 districts in the state passed that question, and 7 did not. We were one of the 7 that did not. And again, the ballots are not certified yet, but these are preliminary results. So that report is there for you. But I think it's important just to follow up on that. That question apparently has been posed here in the district for many years. And so at this point, it's the district's feeling like the zones need to have separate representation versus the district at large. And we talked a little bit about the COVID numbers earlier, and we currently have 5 students with a pending test, and we have 11 that posted positive. We have 2 staff members that are currently quarantined, 0 with positives and 0 with pending. So those numbers are down. There is some discussion across the state about the age of positive numbers, and they're wondering if it's not sports. I don't know, but we have talked about safety protocols with our coaches, and we talked about cohorting and distancing and doing the things that we have been practicing across the district, just to be really careful. We have homecoming parade on Saturday at 1 o'clock. It would be really exciting to see most of our community out supporting the Tornadoes. And we have the homecoming game at 5 p.m. At the game, we're going to crown the king and queen. So I think that'll be exciting if you can tune in for that, or at least come to the game either way. I can't wait myself to see who the queen is, although I had a little bit of a hint that's a pretty popular young lady, and again with our king, so I'm pretty excited about that. And that will be at 5 o'clock at the football game. We have graduation scheduled on May 21st, which is at 6 p.m. It's a traditional graduation with a twilight parade to follow. Right now, the situation with tickets, we're still under the governor's cap on social distancing. So if they're unvaccinated, 2 unvaccinated tickets, family member tickets per student. If vaccinated, 4 is what we're at this point. And in talking to some colleagues, it's pretty typical how school districts are handling this at this point in time. On Tuesday, May 25th, it will be the last day for our students. Excuse me, on Wednesday, May 26th. And then on Thursday, May 27th, we'll have the Institute Day for teachers, and that'll be the official closing of the school year. And again, that's May 26th for students and 27th for teachers. And I know every year you want to do cartwheels as a teacher when you wrap up the school year and you wave at the kids with the buses heading out. But this year in particular, because as you recall, our teachers have been remote, hybrid, in person, and adjusting continually. And it's really, really been a difficult year. And our families have had the same experience, and our students have had the same experience. So this summer will be one that will be celebrated across the district. There's an update on food service. We met with our food service regional director and state leader and completed our food service audit. We are enrolled in a federal grant reimbursement program, which has been extended through September. This will allow us to have a summer feeding program. We will have meals on Wednesdays. That will be a week's worth of meals for students that will be picked up here at the high school and transported to the outer line communities. This year, we're going to use our food service staff, and we're going to use vans to contain the transportation cost. The kindergarten roundup is underway with registration going on this coming week. So packets went out to preschools for preschoolers, and then appointments are being made at North School.
Before we go to the next item on the agenda, Matt's been putting some numbers together for the high school, and we have a tendency, and it's just natural, to dwell on all the horrible things that have happened. We didn't get this, we didn't get that, blah, blah, blah. And I don't mean to downplay that, but there's been some really great things that have been happening over the last few years for our students, and I just want to highlight some of those things. Post-high school planning. This is a survey of the students. What are you going to do? 52.3% of our students are hoping to go to college. They're planning to go to a 4-year college. 33% are planning to go to 2 years. 4.6% are planning on technical or vocational. 3% the military. That's pretty good numbers. Now, that's their hopes, and I think they're prepared to do that. But some other things that we've been doing over the last 4 years that have been kind of interesting, and it started before I got on the board 4 years ago, and that is concentrating on the trades and the vocationals and having people be prepared to go into the workforce when they leave here or to go join a union or an internship program. We presently at Lincoln Land College, right now, we have 29 juniors and 19 seniors involved in programs up at Lincoln Land, including welding path, healthcare, and associate degrees. At Capital Area Vocational Center, when we first started looking at this, we were hoping we would get to one bus, maybe 30 kids. At this moment, we have 61 kids, 2 buses going up to Capital Area, juniors and seniors. We first started with seniors, now we've opened it up to juniors. These people are being exposed to the trades, law enforcement. They're actually will be able to go right into apprenticeships. They're learning welding there as well. Graphic arts, just construction trades. It's an enhancement to our construction job or facility work here, healthcare, so on and so forth. We started back to school to work, and I remember when that was going on when I was here. We've had 18 seniors involved in school and work. I don't think anybody wants to sit here and me read an entire page of all the great things that are going on with the ag program, but we have one of the best in the state, if not the nation. But one thing that's really took off in the last 2 years, it went from a club to a course, is Tommy TV. We have 41 students involved in Tommy TV. And if you have sat down and watched those broadcasts of the football games, the basketball games, the story reading and everything else, I'll match that up against anybody. These people could go right now out and get a job in that industry. And I think there's 32, 37 different jobs that they could probably work on. And they do an amazing job with replays and banners and interviews and that. And that is a testament to the commitment that the school administration made to move that program on. If we talk about our writing programs here, they're getting national honors all the time. We can go on and on about this, but building trades, we have 2 sections, 30 students in building trades. We have 2 sections with 30 students in cabinet making. So someday, when you're remodeling that kitchen down the line, one of our kids, or young adults, I should say, might be hanging those cabinets for you. So treat them nice. You don't want them crooked. But my point is, there's a great deal of opportunities that these students are seeing, and even it has continued on through this pandemic. Our building trades, we had to modify it, yes, but we worked at a hybrid and we continued on. These kids are getting a lot of opportunities that kids in similar districts are not seeing. And I'll match our Tommy TV up against any other district our size, and I'll bet you right now that we'll come out on top of that. And I want to thank the administration. I want to thank all the teachers. You guys have done amazing jobs. You've learned to do things and work in teams this year, to present things online, and it's been phenomenal. And I know I've heard stories of people who didn't think they could do this and found out they're pretty good at this online stuff. They're pretty good at putting these programs together, and a lot of this is still going to carry over even when we're in back full face and everything else as we are right now. But a lot of this stuff is going on, and our students are going to be better prepared when they go to college, because a lot of colleges are finding out it's cheaper to do online stuff even when the students are on campus, and our kids are going to be prepared for that. They're going to be prepared better than we are. I'm still having trouble navigating websites, but that's another story. And my grandkids are getting better at it, so now I got somebody to do it for me. But the point is, there's a lot of good things going on in this district. Just a lot of good things. And if you can't get excited about that, there's just something wrong. It's really an exciting district. And there's just a lot of good things going on, and I'll shut up now. Move on to the last bit. Go ahead.
So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our outgoing board members. We've got a special gift for each of them. But I just want to say a few words to each of the board members who will be leaving us. And I'd like to start with Rick. And Rick is not here this evening. He was not able to attend the meeting, but we have been in communication, and I told him I would accept his award on his behalf. But I just wanted him to know, and the community to know, how much we appreciate how child-centered, how safety conscious, and his logistics expertise that he contributed to the board. And I hope that we can keep him engaged on some level. And so his honor is this beautiful crystal clock, and it says, "Thank you for your time, Taylorville Community Unit School District Board of Education, Mr. Rick Bryant, 2019 through 21. So Rick, as you may or may not know, stepped up and fulfilled a vacancy when we had a board member pass away. And so it was a time that we really needed help, and he's contributed well. So thank you, Mr. Bryant. The next is for Dr. Freeze. And Dr. Freeze here sitting to my left, just an absolute brilliant, experienced school administrator. He was a superintendent, if you did not know that, but he had an entire career in education. He just ended there. But he's advised me so much on human resource matters, on financial matters, and on operations and management matters. One of the things that he did, whether it was a hobby or a business or just something he was naturally talented at, was a lot of property management. So with that lifestyle came a lot of knowledge about repairs and about replacement and about financing that. And so he has really shed a lot into my development, into the community, and into the board. And so Dr. Freeze, I'd like to present you with your crystal clock. This is thank you for your time. Taylorville Community School District, Dr. George Freeze, 2019 through 2021.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Mr.
Entertain a motion
Stephen.
to adjourn now?
Mr. Stephen Turner. Mr. Stephen Turner, a bit like a father figure, sometimes stern. If we had videos of some of our interactions, you would wonder if we were friend or foe. But absolutely love him like a father. I could always look to him for the right answer in the right direction, even if it wasn't something I wanted to hear. He was never one-sided. We had many work sessions. And I remember the day I met him. I was in Dr. Furstenau's office, and he came in and he had a pink polo on and was really well put together. And it was a hot, hot summer day down here in what I call Southern Illinois. And he kind of gave me the lay of the land on some project work that was going on. And it was instant recognition that we had somebody that was talented and understood things that was on the team. And so he always had the very best interest in heart for the community. He was an expert in planning and alignment. I still have some of his sketches up in my office on the whiteboard, and I can't decide if I should take a picture or just erase them. But I'd like to thank this individual for leading our cohort of a board. And we have individuals on this board that came together as a team. They brought a new superintendent into the district during transition. And as if that wasn't enough, we had a pandemic hit. We kept it together and worked very well for growth as a district, as a team, even in a pandemic. And so I'm very, very pleased with the leadership that the board has provided. And I'm very much looking forward to the new members joining the team and carrying on the good work that you have laid out. But Mr. Turner, your memory item from the district. Thank you for your time. Taylorville Community School District Board of Education, member and president, Mr. Stephen Turner, 2017 through 2021.
Gotta embarrass you a little bit.
I just have a couple people to thank. This board has been great. All the boards I've served on have been good, and the superintendents I've served with have been excellent. The staff here, certifieds, non-certifieds, our administration are just excellent. They're great to work with. Once a decision is made, whether everybody totally agreed or not, everybody gets on board, does the best job they can. You can ask no more than that. We don't always agree, but we have been able to disagree in an agreeable manner. I've been very impressed. And I got to say this, we are one of the few government agencies that operates in the black. And that's saying something this day and age. And we put money back because we know we're not going to get all the funding that we were supposed to get. And so we've covered that ahead of time, and that's a good thing. But most importantly, I want to thank my wife, who grudgingly agreed to let me run against her better judgment 4 years ago. And she has been, she's been my rock and helped me through these things. And I wasn't going to do this, but anyway, I just want to thank her and my family for what they put up with over the last 4 years, and I want to ask you to do that again. Thank you. And I'm going to break protocol here because I'm going to make the motion to adjourn.
Hey, I got to make a comment yet. I'd like to thank the board certainly for the opportunity to fill a 2-year term. on the board. This board and superintendent has been excellent to work with, as we've had to navigate some very tough waters, and they've done an excellent job in doing so. I can say that we always put the safety of our students and our teachers and our staff utmost important as we complied with the CDC, the federal and state mandates, and so on. The decisions concerning school operations and types of student learning situations, remote, hybrid, face-to-face, and so on, were made with utmost care and concern for all. Thank you for the great leadership provided by Steve Turner, Board President, and Dr. Daugherty, our Superintendent. Additionally, I'd like to make some comments about the March board meeting. A woman was asked to speak to the board and was put on the board agenda to do so. She started her presentation about getting kids back in school and indicating that we did not have a plan. The plan was presented later under old business. And then the presentation morphed into direct, derogatory, degrading, and caustic comments about the board and superintendent. In all my 25 years, plus years, in education as a teacher, administrator, superintendent, I have never witnessed this type of behavior. Everybody has the right to disagree with decisions made by the board, but the airing of these disagreements must be presented in a respectful manner to the Board of Education. The board was certainly caught off guard, and I regret that I and the rest of the board didn't stand up and stop this type of behavior. I challenge the new board that will be seated on April the 28th that this type of behavior will never be allowed to happen ever again. I have a statement that I like. You don't criticize an Indian until you walk a mile in his moccasins. And this is what happens. I have been so happy to have been a part of this excellent board, administration, and staff for 2 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm cool.
All right.
Who was
All right.
Who's the second?
All opposed? The second?
Sarah.
Over there.
Excellent.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We need to sign some paper.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching Tommy TV.